Now then, people, good evening and welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show. It's still January the 13th, Monday, January the 13th. It's here to chat to you this evening about some potential transfer rumblings in the Leeds United sphere. Feeling a little bit better than I was this morning, obviously, a couple of weeks ago. Angus shouldn't have a job, Kinnear, had met with the Supporters Advisory Board and was just echoing the same things that Daniel Farke has been saying since January the 4th, that it's going to be a quiet window, they will stay awake and all that jazz. I don't subscribe to this notion. I don't think any of us should, if I'm being totally honest, because our opponents, our competition will and are improving, and Leeds United need to do the same. Now, I want to talk to you first and foremost about Tom Cannon, because according to reports, Sheffield United are set to ramp up efforts for Tom Cannon. There are at least 5 clubs interested in his signature. This is one that I mocked locks for last season. Again, that what's the word I'm looking for? Thinking we're better than a Tom Cannon. And I look at it and say, you know what? I would take Tom Cannon. Because it's a supplementary signing to what we already have. That's what he was at Leicester, by the way, when they bought him from Everton. He played 16 times last season for Leicester, got 3 goals and 2 assists. Didn't quite make the grade. Has been sent on loan to Stoke City, played 25 times, got 11 goals and 1 assist. It gives me Sarmiento vibes, because obviously Sarmiento was sent on loan to West Brom last season, did okay. Ipswich then took him, he gets it over the line, now he's at Burnley, right? So this is why it gives me that sort of vibe. Why shouldn't Leeds United, who are top of the tree, need a number 9, look at someone like Tom Cannon who's doing it whilst on loan at a Stoke and say, right, okay, we'll take him. We'll give him some experience higher up the division. Because that makes sense for all parties. For Leicester, for Cannon, for Leeds, right? He's only valued at around about 3.7 million currently. I think Leicester paid over the odds. But I think my thing is, look, Leeds United do need their attack supplementing. Because Bamford's always injured. Joseph, not that the jury's out, but there's still a lot of growing there. You've actually got a player in Tom Cannon who offers something different to what we have, and has also scored goals at this level. For Leicester, for Stoke, and even for Preston a few years ago. So it's another body, because we know Joffrey's on his way to Hull. Bamford's broken. I think it's a real good addition. Now, I know a lot of people won't like to hear it, but it'd be a first sub where we're currently at. I guess it depends on the opponent, because even Farke in certain games against physical opposition opts to bring on Bamford over Joseph in some games, in some quarters. So I think I could understand why that could be a potential option for Leeds United, and one that I, as a fan, would be more than happy with, looking at someone like Tom Cannon to come in and supplement what we already have. 5 clubs interested in the deal. If Sheffield United's one of them, then what other clubs that are higher up the league than Stoke could be in? I don't know. I just feel that had we genuinely been in, we'd have probably already heard something by now. But I do think it's one that I would look at and say, why not? Because I think what's really frustrating for me as a fan right now is obviously a lot of fans are, well, we've got enough, etc. And that's fine. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. But I look at a Burnley, I look at all these other clubs that already have options and they're supplementing it. Tom Cannon, when he was bought last season by Leicester, had Vardy, had Daka, had Iheanacho. They still went and got Tom Cannon. They had 4 strikers. All of a sufficient level. A huge level, if you think about it. Vardy, Daka, Iheanacho, Cannon. Now, Cannon, of course, has hit the wayside since promotion to the Premier League and finds himself back in the Championship. He's got experience at this level. It would make sense to me. It's a no-brainer for me, especially if Sheffield United are looking at him, who, by the way, have Kiefer Moore, Ben Brereton Diaz, Tom Cannon, Ryan Brewster, many options already in that position. Because you shouldn't be happy with the smallest squad in the division, especially when you're at the top of the table. So that's one that I would definitely look at. Valued at 3.7 million, scored a lot of goals at this level. Another one that's been linked is Bal Mumba. Bal Mumba, who is a player that whenever I've seen Plymouth has impressed me. More so than Morgan Whittaker has in big games that I've watched Plymouth in. Over the last couple of seasons, obviously, I've watched Plymouth when they played the likes of Ipswich, Leicester, Sheffield United, Burnley, whatever you like, when we've played them. And Bal Mumba is always a player that's stuck out to me. Now, according to reports, Leeds United have sent scouts to watch him. I mean, I don't know if you need to send scouts to watch him because we watched him 4 games last season on our own. But in each game he impressed me. Now, primarily, he's a left-back. Primarily a left-back, left wing-back, has also played left midfield. That pricks my ears up straight away. We need a long-term successor to Junior Firpo. I don't think he gets a new deal. Surely there'd have already been ramblings of it. We need a long-term left-back. He's also worked with Farke previously, between the years of 2020 to 22, before he moved permanently to Plymouth. He was at Norwich with Farke. He only made 9 appearances. He'd have been around about 19-20 at the time. Obviously, he had Max Aarons, he had Jamal Lewis in front of him, etc. But he had been given game time under Farke, although limited, when he was very, very young. We also have to take into consideration he can play right back and has played right mid at times. He is your modern day fullback. 23-year-old. Again, valuation 2 million. Might cost you more than that, but the point is, this is sort of the circles that Leeds United up to this point have operated in. Buy your big ticket items, which have been the likes of Ampadu and Rodon. But they've been well worth their big ticket item. He's also got a number of assists throughout his career. Whilst at Plymouth, I think he dropped down to League One prior to moving to Plymouth after Norwich. So he's decent, and it's definitely one with a shed load of potential for me. A shed load of potential. At 23-year-old, he's a player that you look, maybe not January, I can't see it. And to be honest, I think if we were to bring in another fullback, I'd be like, what are we doing here? But we'd have Bogle, we'd have Schmidt, you'd have Bal Mumba, you'd have, Sam Byram, etc. to go into the Premier League in. Okay, it's not amazing, but I believe there's a really good player in Bal Mumba, having watched him a few times. And Leeds United apparently have sent scouts to watch him on a regular basis. So that could be one that Leeds United may entertain in the summer. But it's one that I got, okay, that would make sense. Leeds United need to recruit well, need to recruit right, Unfortunately, when we get promoted, because I'm still on that hype train, I don't see or have that much confidence in the manager as much as I did with Bielsa, who could turn water into wine. So you have to recruit really well. You also have to recruit with maybe, and I know this might sound like a loser attitude, with maybe an idea of you could drop back down. So if you do drop back down, you also have this. Look at Ipswich, for example. And they look like they're more likely to stay up at this moment in time. But if they did drop down, then they've got a squad that'll gobble up the Championship. So someone like a Bal Mumba also has that in mind as well, right? In the back of your mind. So one to watch. So there's some transfer updates for you. Bal Mumba summer. It would make sense. It would genuinely make sense. And I'd be on board with it because, like I say, I think he's an impressive fullback. Tom Cannon. Now, Sheffield United linked. The lad who's reported it as well, Fraser, who is a transfer guy, he's very heavily around the Stoke stuff. So it seems to have got legs. It would make sense for a Sheffield United signing, but he did say 5 other clubs are interested in him. Let's do what Ipswich did last season with Sami Ento. And as I've mentioned to you before, Lee Brombury, when he was at Huddersfield, they did some analysis. The transfers that do best in January in the Championship are ones where you take players from other Championship clubs that are lower down the division, not loans from the Premier League. The Tom Cannon one makes sense to me. So get on board with it, Leeds United, because we need a 9, we need a 10. And if I'm being extra picky, we need a right centre-back. And by God, do we need a goalkeeper. But I think we all accept that it's probably not going to happen. But listen, thanks always for watching the Just Joe Football Show. Keep it locked as per. Really enjoying being able to do these in different places. be a bit more natural, be a bit more myself than I normally am, I guess. And it also means I get to see friends, family, and of course my girlfriend. So thank you for bearing with me. Thanks as always for watching the channel. Smash a like on the video, subscribe to it, and all that jazz. And I will see you on the flip side. Leeds, Leeds, Leeds!